We're live, 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Probably can't hear me over that, but trying different things. Oh, last night was a rough one. I had a frog in my throat. Busy night, crazy night. Did our show, put it up on podcast last night for anybody who wants to hear about what's activities going on. It's news stocks went down like 6% yesterday. Anyway, 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master, Agile Coach, and we're going to talk about don't create new events for solving problems. So many times people default, I'm going to create a meeting. I'm going to create a meeting. I'm going to create a meeting. Don't do it. Resist. Go back, take your time, look at we're going to talk about that, what to do. How do you do this? This 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, where we talk about Scrum and Agile in a very practical and tactical way so you can deliver value to your customer without working crazy hours and multiple meetings. And so you get home to family and friends and have a little fun. And let's see. I want to get into the comments here in case anybody comments. So feel free to comment if you're on. I'm a little bit later. I was going to be earlier, but had to go to the store, had to go get a newspaper for a zoning board hearing in Philadelphia. So I had to run. I realized I have to take a picture. So I'll talk about documentation tomorrow. That'll be part of a documentation discussion for tomorrow, but I needed that for a court hearing today. So what am I talking about? So many times things come up, whether it be team members not following their team norms, definition ready, burn down, people not commenting. There's stuff that just happens. You got new people. They're shy. They don't know maybe they don't feel safe yet. Get that trusted environment. And so many times people react to I'm going to create a meeting to discuss that. And I'm more on the side of let's not create a new meeting. Let's use the existing events that we have to help solve problems. So I'm going to go through some of the events and how you can use the events in Scrum to help develop ways to solve those problems. Okay, so let's start with the sprint, right? Let's talk about the sprint. It's an event, which I think is kind of weird, but okay, it's an event, and they decided to call the sprint an event in Scrum, on the Scrum Guide. So the sprint itself, how do I know when things are going to get done? Well, you count the number of sprints that you're going to use to get the project done, and that's when you're going to get it done, or at least an idea when it's going to get done. Nothing's in stone, right? Oh, good morning. Good morning. And I'm going to chat good morning, but yet you can't see it because you're all thin. And when I chat back, it only goes to YouTube and Facebook. So I'll have to go back later and like your thing on the good morning. So anyway, so sprint event, you can use that event to help you figure out and plan how long it's going to take. Well, look how many we got here, how the features, the epics, and everything's getting done over the sprints. And I can tell you, the other thing is how do I challenge a team, not challenge, but just in general, that continuously work an issue and don't see anything. What's called the sprint. The sprint event, the time box, provides a mechanism to check in how things going, right? So that sprint event does it. So you don't have to create that event. You don't have to create a new thing. Let's look at the sprint planning. Sprint planning. What can we use sprint planning for? Well, you can prioritize the workload. Like, we're committing to too much work. Well, use your velocity. Some people don't like velocity, but let's just take it as it is. I can argue all day long why velocity is good. Yes, there's people out there who use velocity. They're called agile accountants for the wrong purposes in life, and they abuse it. And yeah, I get it. Fine. Well, then you have to be strong enough and have courage to say, no, we're not using velocity that way. That's the problem I have with other agile coaches. They run away and hide from stuff because it's too hard or people abuse it. No, you got to confront it, right? And you got to have courage. So in sprint planning, you can use that event like, oh, we're taking too much. We got a problem here. We're overcommitting. Well, then let's look at velocity. Let's make sure we don't plan enough. Get the Scrum Master, the product owners engaged like I talked about the other day. That's a good thing to do that. Cool. Oh, we got to meet on Thursday. um, so so that is where we're at on, as that goes. So we went through the event, sprint planning. Let's do daily Scrum. Um, don't have any information on something. You as a Scrum Master go look and say, hey, it looks like no one's in. Send the person a little side note. Hey, daily Scrum, please mention today on topic XYZ and how and if you need any help, because I noticed been sitting in the flow in the same state for a while. And I just want to make sure you're okay and ask your teammates for help. It's okay. Um, things like that. And use daily Scrum. Problems come up. They should mention that to set up. Now, during daily Scrum, the people who talk are mostly the dev team. Dev team would say, hey, let's set up a meeting. It's okay if the dev team wants to set up a development meeting, coding meeting, not a planning meeting, not a discussion of something, but for them to figure out solutions and work together as a team. The Scrum Master can, during a daily Scrum, my personal opinion, at the end says, hey, I've been noticing a lot of things with team norms lately. I might make that a topic for the retrospective at the end of the sprint. Just to let you all know, if you think about it, think sending ideas, working on something related to this topic, if that's okay. And that's all you say. Done. Period. Nothing more. Right. And they may give you feedback. Yeah, that works. Go ahead, go for it. It's okay for you to ask that question. Some people are like anti anybody but the dev team talking. I'm like, but at the end, if the Scrum Master wants to bring up something, an observation, they are more than welcome to do so, as long as they keep it tight and not long. Right. So then we have sprint review, right? So we review the event. People want to see what's done. Use a sprint review. You're going to work on a study or an educational thing, and someone's going to do some research, and it's not necessarily a business story, right? We'll have them present at the sprint review what they found, how they want to do it, and have a discussion with the team on where they want to go in the future or where their recommendations are. Perfectly fine. I don't need another side meeting for them to bring that up, right? I don't need to create a meeting for Craig. What did you do yesterday? What are you doing? Blah, 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 right? Don't need that. You can use sprint review. The retrospective, I guess the king or queen of all the events, Scrum Master. Oh, I love my retrospective. Okay. So what do you use in retrospective? Do you do the same old crud? Oh, what went well? What didn't go well? And, what should we fix? I don't know. That's an opportunity that if you observe stuff that needs to be looked at, then do it there. Like if you want to change your workflow, how do you want to update team norms? Like I always talk about it. Let's say you as Scrum Master or anybody else in the team, because you're observing as a teammate, can't see how things are progressing. Maybe you offer, hey, I'd really like to talk about a workflow and how we get visibility on the board so that we all know what's going. So I'm not calling you every day saying, how you doing? Did you get your stuff done? When are you going to get it done? The classic bad questions that people ask. Because they want to be able to visualize. If I visualize it, I don't need to call you. I don't need to ask how things are going, right? So you use that retro to introduce, I would like to introduce this topic related to team norms and updating the system. Whatever system you have, it doesn't matter, right? So those are the kind of things that you can do that use those events without creating another meeting. You do not need to create another meeting to talk team norms. If you want to do team norms, say, hey, I would like to use this retrospective and cover team norms. Maybe another retrospective, I like to do definition ready. Maybe another retrospective, I do definition done. But you don't need to call more meetings. So as a Scrum Master, I really want to encourage you to think about how you can use the Scrum events to solve problems that you're observing with the team. Do not create additional meetings to have a discussion on Scrum related or teamwork related stuff unless they're really absolutely needed. If it's like critical, like somebody just yelled at somebody, that's a different story, right? I don't know. You can call a meeting and say, time out, let's discuss this. But if it's just to change the process, let them know that you want to change it. You want to have a discussion in a retro, get feedback to the team, they give you permission, then hold a retrospective on that topic and cover that topic as something you want to cover to improve. I think the team will appreciate you not creating more meetings to discuss crap. Well, it's not crap, but it's important stuff. But in their minds, like another meeting. Oh my gosh. So be mindful of how you create these meetings. Use your events. Someone I just saw the other day was talking about how they report on multiple things and have multiple meetings. Well, just invite them all to one meeting, right? My neighbor, we was talking about something, and it's like, have 5 meetings. Why don't you just have one meeting with 5 agenda topics and be done with it? Don't set up 5 different meetings for each agenda topic, you know, and that way the calendar is not full of stuff. So this is how you use the Scrum events to handle those problems. So I just want to offer that to you. Always try to think, when you have something, do I call a meeting or can I use a Scrum event to discuss the issue at hand rather than call another meeting? Do not default to I'm going to call a meeting. So I just wanted to share that with you because I see a lot of that lately. Even my neighbor next door who's just getting into Agile and he's doing some stuff, he asked me questions, some things, and he would talk about things that just annoy him. And he's not even a developer. He's a business guy, you know? So those are the kind of things that are trending lately and conversations I have. And I wanted to share that with you. And again, tomorrow we're going to talk documentation and how documentation sometimes is as simple as getting a newspaper and taking a picture of it. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. With that, I want to wish you all the best. Thank you all for commenting. Tulu, thank you. Also, and I hope everything's going well there in Edinburgh. And I want to wish you all the best. All right. Take care. Have a great day and see you tomorrow. And don't forget to listen to the podcast on the broadcasting stuff. Oh, the nightly feed. I don't do. Anyway, see ya. Bye. And we are ending and see ya.